Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's taking the nostalgia goggles off. Childhood horror, reliving it. Halloween 2024 content. Talking about films that left an indelible mark on my psyche as a child because I saw them too young, and what I feel and how I think about them now, having re-watched them. It's Poltergeist, and I'm going to start this one straight off simply. You know it, I certainly did before I re-watched it. This film still kicks all kinds of ass. Oh, baby, this film holds up to the point where I'm still angry. And I've only ever watched this one once, but I'm still angry about that stupid-ass remake. Poltergeist, it is fabulous. There is so much I love about this film. And weirdly, as a child, when I reflect on it in a different way than I have done to this series up to this point. I don't reflect on it in the same level of horror the others did. The other films did for me as a child. I don't remember experiencing Poltergeist from a fearful standpoint. And that's weird because there are lots of elements in it that should have perhaps frightened me as a child. None more than the goddamn clown. But weirdly, I think I've always been okay with stuff like that. I've never really found dolls, inanimate objects, and stuff like that scary. And because the clown in the Poltergeist is so egregiously weird looking, I think I always knew that it was kind of forced and it was going to end up that way. Don't get me wrong. Watching it now, I actually think the entire sequence is very creepy because of how it's built up. You know, throwing the coat over every night, and then that one night of the storm, the coat doesn't hit, and it kind of tells you bad shit's gonna go down. But around that, it's got things like the tree and all that, and I find that a little silly actually now. And there's some bad effects actually when that tree gets sucked into that tornado. And in fact, the whole tornado scene as well is just pretty. That's areas that don't hold up, but it's more than forgivable because it is an old movie and it just adds to the charm. So scares weren't really the case with this film. I just found the whole tone fascinating. The idea of this family, a very normal family, being assaulted like that, just really, really interested me. Poltergeists have always interested me. Ghosts always interested me as a youngster. Not that I believe it. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in poltergeists or anything like that. But I just found them fascinating growing up. Particularly as a kid, you know, you're always looking out for stuff like that, and you think you see things, and you hear stories from older people in your family. For example, my mother had stories of ghosts and things like that. So it was always interesting. So to watch something with such a malevolence behind it was really intriguing. And that rolls into the adult side of things as well. There are elements of this film that have more of an effect on me now based off sequels more than anything else. I think I got more creeped out now as an adult than I did as a child. And I think that's because I didn't fully grasp a lot of the stuff. It's the subtle stuff on Poltergeist that's creepier than anything else. But then there are some fantastic moments like later in the movie when you've got the sound of the beast stomping around. That is fabulously creepy. The scene that's supposed to be kind of pretty as well, but where like the ghosts are moving through the house and you kind of see the light of them and then you kind of see what they look like. Stuff like that is really, really creepy and uncomfortable for me as an adult. Even stuff like the ripping of the face off, those things, that didn't really have too much of a... I mean, it had an effect on me as a child because it's gory and gross, but it never stood long in the memory. I just remember, really, more than anything else, the family dynamic and how it affected them and feeling really sorry for them. Obviously, the stories that, you know, the Poltergeist curse and the unfortunate death of many of people within this film, obviously... you know, that's something I got to know as an adult, and I watch now in a more reflective way. But I watched Poltergeist 1, 2 and 3 probably roughly around the same period of time, I reckon. So it's weirdly the sequels that have had more impact than this film in regards to the horror side of things. I've chosen Poltergeist the original. I know I might be talking about Poltergeist 2 in another video, who knows. But I chose the original because of the fact that I remember so much detail of it from watching it as a child and enjoying it and loving it to the point where that carried on as an adult. And now I watch it, I think I appreciate it more. This series is about taking the nostalgia goggles off and often, in some circumstances, looking at these 31 films and finding things that maybe don't hold up about it. I had that with Demons 2 in a previous episode. And there are more to come that maybe don't hold up. I think Poltergeist is a better film than I remember it being. I've seen it countless times as an adult. but I certainly appreciate it more now than I did as a kid. And I think it's the nuances of the acting. It's the dynamic, the relationship between the adults and the children. It's the kind of the iconic scenes. You know, you move the bodies, you move the graves, but you didn't move the bodies. Things like that that sound amazing more as an adult than as a kid. Particularly as a kid, I laughed more at the part where he kind of just screams at the end of that. Whereas now I think, God, it's like he's losing his mind. He's just losing his mind in this scenario. He's been pushed so fucking far. It's fabulous. And Craig T. Nelson is stunning in this film. It's stuff like that I appreciate more. It's often a thing with horror, nuanced horror as well, that as a child, of course, you're not going to appreciate the detail, the level, the caliber of the acting. Your mind is assailed by visuals and themes and stuff like that, whereas now I watch it and I just love the acting and I love the themes and I love the music and I love the vibe that gives off. I just love the ambience of it all. I love how it looks, I love how it feels, even though, you know, that suburban American lifestyle was so far away from what I've ever experienced in my life. It's Poltergeist. It is a better film these days than it was for me back as a child. What about you? You got any thoughts on it? You know what to do. Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.